Hello Trekkies and Trekkers. Welcome to this amazing Star Trek podcast on Trekkie Tuesday. I'm your host Dorinda, and together with my fellow Trekker from Canada, Amanda Hopper, I recap every 2 weeks an episode of Star Trek TNG. Today we are recapping the episode The Price. But first a note of this podcast host. So today Amanda couldn't join me because she had to go to the hospital and she wouldn't be back on time. No worries, everything is alright. She just couldn't make it for today's recording. I would appreciate it if you like this video, subscribe to the channel and share it with your friends and family. And now for the plot of the episode. The crew plays host to a group of visiting interplanetary dignitaries who are negotiating for the rights to a stable wormhole to the Delta Quadrant, discovered by the Bazan people, which could provide a valuable and efficient bypass through known space. Deanna Troi, overrun by her duties as ship's counselor, reluctantly agrees to attend the delegation's reception. She meets Deanna Troi, secretly a fellow empath and negotiator for one of the groups. Raul and Troi fall into an instant passionate affair. Meanwhile, talks over the rights to the wormhole are coming to a boiling point. Resolved to achieve success and take over the rights, the Ferengi incapacitate the Federation representative, said Mendoza. Captain Jean-Luc Picard selects First Officer William Riker to replace Mendoza in representing the Federation's interest. Riker recommends that the USS Enterprise conduct an exploratory expedition into it before committing the Federation in a binding contract. Picard agrees and orders Chief Engineer LaForge and Second Officer Data to take a shuttlecraft into the wormhole. In an effort to prevent being outdone, the Ferengi send in a shuttle of their own. The two crafts are surprised to find themselves in the Delta Quadrant, and as they monitor the wormhole, LaForge and Data agree that while the other end of the wormhole may be stable, this end is not, making the wormhole worthless. Further, they detect signs that this end of the wormhole may move soon. The two try to warn the Ferengi about this before they return through it, but the two Ferengi remain steadfast. The Ferengi are shocked when the wormhole vanished in front of them, stranding them in the Delta Quadrant. Meanwhile, on the Enterprise, negotiations for the wormhole continue, as well as the spark between Troi and Raul. Even though she has fallen for Raul, Troi starts to have some second thoughts about him when he tells her in intimate confidence that he is in part betazoid and that he has been using his empathic abilities to manipulate the opposing delegates in the negotiations. Raul deftly narrows the competition down to the Federation and his own employees, the Quasilians. Just before Riker can obtain the wormhole rights, the Ferengi threatens to destroy the wormhole, claiming that an informed source has told them that the Federation has made a cover pact with the Barzan Premier. Picard requests Riker's presence on the bridge to deal with the situation. In his absence, Raul takes the advantage and builds his case on the Barzan leader's wishes for peace to win the claim to the wormhole for his group. When Troi realized that Devanoni staged the entire altercation to sabotage the Federation, her sense of duty force her to betray his trust and speak out publicly. But before the Barton Premier had a chance to cancel the bargain with Raoul and the Grisilians, the Enterprise shuttle emerged from the wormhole and hails the ship, announcing that it is worthless. Raoul then says goodbye to Troi and returns face his employers for purchasing worthless rights. So guys, if we looking at the first scene, we see a very tiresome Counselor Troi coming back to her quarters, and she asks the computer what messages there are. So she got some kind of a paper to read and some messages of her mom. So she said, okay, forward to the computer, etc. And while she is checking on her mother's message, she asked the computer for a real chocolate ice cream, which of course the computer said define real. So she has a little bit of a debate with the computer, and then Captain Picard asks her why she isn't at the reception of the delegation, and that they are going to look for the first time at the wormhole, and that is very special, and she needed to commit to her counselor thingy of on the ship. And you could see that her reaction was, oh God forbid me to watch the first time at the wormhole. And in one way I can understand that. In another way, it's a bit weird to ask her to come. Of course, she is the empath and can read people, etc. But I don't know if that at this point in the episode, why? And well, okay, she goes to the reception and the captain is introducing her to the delegation and the Prime Minister Barzan, and of course we see the negotiator Mendoza. And what I was really thinking right away, isn't he also playing the father of Dr. Bashir of DS9? So let me know, guys, if I'm correct with this in the comment below. And I thought it was Bashir's father, but I am not sure. And then she meets Leo of Cardonia, and I don't know, but there is something that I was thinking, there's something not right with this guy. Not because he is super alien, but also his whole demeanor. And to me, he was using the old English social form of lady, etc., etc. Then, of course, we meet Delfinelli Raw, who is half betazoid, and of course he got good looks. But there is something with him that I always was thinking, there's something not good with him. Well, we see that later in the negotiation. He is part betazoid, and he uses his gift to manipulate peoples and parties to get what he wants. Not only on a business form, but also on his own personal gain. And we see that with what he got this affair or romance with Counselor Troi. And people can see how, in the way of he talks, can be very arrogant. And we see that through the whole episode. Not only because of how he is, but also in the actions, what he does and talk. And in one way, I pitify Counselor Troi in this episode. And by the way, guys, have you noticed that every time if there is an episode around or that Counselor Troi is in it as the head character of the episode, it's always about love interests of her. It's 9 of the 10 times you can see that there's not really a episode where she can be very busy and very you see really what her daily chores are, or daily work is of her as counselor. And when we really watched the episode, how more we saw of Raul and her, I was thinking, Diana, what the hell are you doing? Why would you want to even be with him? Riker is a better choice. Exactly, Riker is a better choice. So, why Raul? We also know that Raul is a negotiator. And he uses his betazoid empathy gift for those negotiations. What is in one way very bad, because he is playing on people's emotions, etc. And I think he is like a wolf in disguise. He is this quote unquote nice person, good looking person, but he is doing a lot of wrong things to play on your emotion and get things done for his employee or for himself. But at the first moment that Troi is introduced to Raul, there is this connection right away, and I don't know if this is for how can I say this? If this is like love of first sight, or if this is yeah, how can I say it? They feel something that the other does also, and later on, or actually right away, we see that Raw is playing with Diana's emotions and feelings. What is typical a bad guy thing, I think. Then we are going to negotiate a whole thing about the wormhole, which is I don't know, it is weird in a way, because it is something you find, but it doesn't belong to you because it belongs to the galaxy, you know. It's weird to say, okay, this is ours, and we're gonna negotiate for how much money you want to buy it. It's just weird. So then Riker is coming in and tells Picard face to face that the Ferengi wants have their share of the wormhole treating and wants to join the negotiation. And what I immediately thought was, oh yeah, Ferengi, who else could it be? But the question I have, and you can answer this one in the comment section what your thoughts are about it, is why is Riker telling it in person instead off over the come. It was just weird to me because, like I said, Kevin Picard was the host. He introduced everyone, started the first negotiations, and so you would think that Riker will be on the bridge, and because I don't believe, because when Riker told him that, it was really in the ready room and not in Picard's office. So why would Riker tell them personally that the Ferengi will want to be in the negotiations? What was really annoying, because they only want to have a chair and this and that, and first they didn't want to go through the formalities, and the one thing they did was just throwing the lamp on the table and said, well, we will pay this for it, and if you we will top up everyone who is overbid us, and which was not the point of it, etc. And like Ferengis are, they had something sneaky around what they are going to do. And we see that they have this chemical reaction on the hand that they made. The doctor injected an antidote in that Diamond Goss, the leader of the Ferengis. And he was saying, if you shake somebody's hands, it will have an allergic reaction. And they wanted to do that with, I can't remember really which one, but there was one of the, I think it was the premier of Bronson. But he ended up shaking Mendoza's hand. And Mendoza went to the sick bay to get treated. And, well, of course, Ken Picard has been notified. And so then the first time of the wormhole is going on, and I think Picard was asking her the premier, if the wormhole is always on time, and she said yes. So that was very, very good. And you could say that Picard was really annoyed by the Ferengi, that they are bombarding him in the negotiations, and he was very annoyed by that. So he was glad when he could give his chair to the Ferengi of a Damon Goss, and the weird thing is that it's quickly seen in everything, because one moment Wall was in the negotiations, and the next moment he was visiting Troi, and Troi was checking data about Rawl, etc. But there was nothing about his betazoid side. He told her that in confidence when they were intimate, and I think she was in shock, because there was not a trace of that he would use it for negotiations in getting what his employees wanted. And I think it was really, and that's why I always said it, I think he was really arrogant and seductive against Troi, but that was also that definition of being that creep. And that's what I was thinking. And I think there was, because Mendoza was sick, they would say that Picard could negotiate this whole thing. But he couldn't because he was the host. So Riker said the second best choice, Picard sent the next best choice in, and that was Riker. And I think Picard, and I don't know this for sure, guys, so once again, give some answers in the comment section about this question. Is this the first time Riker, Riker, who get involved with poker? I don't know if he already played poker, because we not really have seen that in the episodes before, but maybe he does already knows poker, and Picard just mentioned poker, or you have to put on your poker face, you know? I don't know if that is, if he already had been known poker. So Riker said to Picard, well, I need to know more facts, and I like to investigate the wormhole. And of course the Ferengis are not to agree with that, because you can see is what you get. So the next scene also is that Raul and Troi having dinner, and Deanna is wearing a very beautiful dress, but no surprise there. Raul wanted her in bed immediately, and he started kissing her, etc., etc. And still, Deanna is not at ease, and he was mockingly asking her, oh, am I going too fast for you, baby girl? You know, and I was thinking, dude, if it all was me, I will strangle you. Oh, he's so arrogant. He's so arrogant. He's giving me the heebie-jeebies of him. That's the vibe I got from him. Really, no thank you. And you could see really good now that he's playing with her feelings. But that's the point too. We know all that Deanna is an empath. Why isn't she blocking it? Is that because she doesn't know Raw is betazoid as well? Or is that just like being let us say unresponsible for the things she's going to do, like being acting like a teenager? But it is so wrong. This is in the wrong way, and I really didn't like them as a couple. And I had that feeling also with Wyatt. I can't remember if we already have done that episode, but and why is she so like a naive girl? I didn't understand that, because it's not the Deanna we know. And we see that Deanna with Raw is very different with Riker. And Raw was trying to get Riker jealous. But that didn't work. And the only compliment Riker got from him is that Riker was good at negotiating and being a diplomat. And I really didn't like how Raw played with everyone's feelings. And it reminded me a bit of that Enterprise episode that T'Pol was harassed in her dreams or in her mind by that other Vulcan who wanted to have sex with her, etc., etc., etc. And that reminded me a bit about of the scene as well. So Riker was telling the Ferengis, well, if you don't like it that we're going to investigate the wormhole, you send the shuttle as well and we share information, blah, 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 blah. So they did that. Geordi and Data were in the shuttle. And they had a little conversation. I mean, like, I remember that Geordi didn't look forward to go to this wormhole and be stranded in the Delta Quadrant. And the joke that Data made was, well, at least you have me to talk to, you know? And so the two shuttles entered the wormhole, and then we see this scene with Ro and Riker in 10 Forward. And Ro was really talking down on Riker. And like I said, he liked to he wanted to make him jealous about Deanna, and he was telling Hall about what he is going to do to Deanna and what they have. And I was thinking, dude, you're a player. You really have to be kicked out the nearest ally, cause really hate him. So the next scene we see is that Troi and Ro are very intimate, and Ro wants to stall the negotiation so that they have good more time. But I was thinking, nah, you're already being a douchebag, so why won't we want you more on screen? And that was the moment that he told Diana that he was part betazoid as well. And I think she was a bit shocked and overwhelmed what he was saying. And you could see that her head could spin around, get around to that he would use this in the negotiations. Then we see that both of the shuttles are in trouble, and they are measuring things that doesn't supposed to be there, and they don't know if they are on the Delta Quadrant. Geordi said a notice also to the Ferengi shuttle, well, the wormhole on this side is not stable, so we have to go back. And then we have that scene with the famous one of Troi and Crusher on the hall, that they do something sportive, etc. And you see this, they are very flexible because they're doing the split and whatever else more. So Troi is telling about Raw and what he does, and then Crusher, what was a bit surprising, tells her that she wants to fall in love fast as well, and that on the first day, but that relationship was like a fling. It just they were a week, and I don't know what they were thinking. You know, it's like We'd never seen the women in Star Trek having a this close friendship, but it was nice to see. Then Raw is talking to the delegations, and by manipulating them, they one by one will withdraw, and the Caudonians have a agreement with the Creacians now. And Riker at that moment was suspecting something of Raw. So that was one of the reasons he was looking into the wormhole as well. LaForge is sharing information with the Ferengi, but the Ferengi, dumbasses, they didn't take that as a mutual interest in the wormhole. No, they have prejudice again, and they are against the Ferengi, that they don't want the Ferengi have this wormhole. So they shut all communications off. And once again we see the wormhole forming, and that was the moment that the Enterprise shuttle will go back, and the Ferengi were stranded in the Gamma Quadrant of the other side. And when Ra and Troi were have dinner again, Troi was asking about the negotiation, and so this is Troi who discovered that he uses his manipulation to get what he wants. And he made that comment that I was really, really prompt by. Like, he was saying, oh, you didn't mind when I manipulated your feelings. With the words of being said that, he was just have no feelings for her. And that was the moment also that she was thinking, what the hell? I've been played. My feelings, yeah, I think everyone knows that if you have had a heartbreak over your ex or who else, I think you know what the feeling was. And once again, he was very, very arrogant. Then we have this ethical fight of their abilities as an empath. Then Ra is visit Riker again, and he's toying with Riker. But otherwise, I was thinking, dude, you are really a douchebag. And so Ra made a deal also with the Ferengi that they could have shared knowledge, but also gain the rights of it. That they make this real situation that the Ferengi is shooting on the wormhole, and then the Ferengi blame them that they have knowledge about something, and they accusing the Enterprise from I don't know what it is what they did, but okay. So the Ferengi wanted to destroy the wormhole to prevent that other people of other species will get the rights over it. And But luckily, we have Troi. And Troi was feeling nothing with Diamond Gauze. And at the moment that Picard wanted to negotiate with Diamond Gauze, Ro interfered. But I was really thinking, dude, you're rude. Very rude. And so Ro tells them that the planet Bazan, the premier, has been confirmed the long-term contract with the Cresidians as his employees, and there will be no more negotiations. But he will make an offer to the Ferengi in cooperation, etc. And you could see that Riker was dumbfounded, and Ralph thinks he had to win. But then Troi does her duty and brings Ross and Pat in public. And she said Ra and Gauze have staged this in all of this. Because I don't feel this and I don't feel that. If you knew this is... They had to be cooperating. Well, they did. And at the moment that there will be another discussion, Data and LaForce are coming back from the wormhole. And they say, well, guys, the wormhole in the other side isn't stable. And the wormhole is nothing. It's useless. And which thing is was quite funny, because Riker said with a triumphing smile, well, good luck with that, you won a worthless, unstable wormhole to Ra. The Ferengi in the end wants to know where their shuttle is. And Picard says, and I really love this, well, if you want to set course to the, was that Delta Quadrant or Gamma? I thought it was Gamma Quadrant, and you will encounter them in about 80 years or so. And that was one way quite funny, because they betted on a wrong horse, as we say. And it was quite funny that they couldn't smile after this. And the last scene that we see is Ra visiting Troi. They talk. It was very sad. But I was thinking, yes, good riddance. And I hope just, and that's is the most thing, what I really, really love, is that they, well, I mean, Deanna and Riker ended up marrying each other. And I saw this interview from Star Trek Picard that Marina and Jonathan wanted that relationship through Picard as well. And I always loved their love story in a way. And they say, we know what we have, we know what we can. And when the writers didn't want to involve that, they say, well, if you want Riker and Troi in Picard doing their thing again, then you need us let have that relationship because we're married. And they are right. I was so thankful that they did that, because a Riker without Troi and a Troi without Riker you don't have this dynamic couple. And the only thing is, what I still question about is, how can they switch it so radically in Picard from homely family establishment to full gear into Starfleet. And I think I always have a bit of problem with it, because in one way it is not clear, and there is so much more to do. But I must confess, I do think season 3 of Picard is brilliant, but I do think they could have a bit more. Okay, writing is okay, but I think there could be more written in the way of the old TNG crew. And I mean by saying that, like, the backgrounds again. It is nice to see that Riker and Troi still have that connection, that bond, that chemistry in on screen. And it is very nice to know that they have been a couple, they have been years together, they have this is, like I said, this is the dynamic couple that you need in a series like this. So if you are going to take a look at the rating of IMDb, and that's 6.3. And in one way I can understand why it is this low. I would say also a bit like a 6.5, because it is a good story, but it lingered a bit too much on the romance of Ra and Deanna Troi. But the rest of the story is great. I think, I don't know if they do this later in the season or in the other seasons. Of course, you still got 4 seasons to go. This is just season 3. And, but yeah, in general, I think it was an okay-ish episode. So guys, let me know what you think about it. And, well, who knows? Maybe we can have a nice discussion on YouTube or the Facebook group. Thank you guys for listening, and join us in 2 weeks for a new episode recap. In the next episode, we will recap the episode The Vengeance Factor. I also like you to take a look and listen to my 2 other podcasts, namely Maya Aline Talks, wherein I talk a lot about Star Trek, and the Nederlandse Ready Room podcast, which is a video podcast in my native language, Dutch. You can find both of them on YouTube and Facebook. We will see you in 2 weeks.